Welcome to Digitally Creative. I'm your host, Vincent Ferrari, and joining me this week as my co-host slash semi-guest is my good friend and fellow karaoke artist, the one and only Christian Neary from Warrenwerks. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Vincent. How are you?
Good. So for
I'm
those of you
happy
that
to
don't
be
know
here.
why I called him a karaoke artist, I actually got to see Christian do karaoke in Queens. He came all the way to Queens to do karaoke, and it
I
was
did.
awesome.
It was a total blast. I love doing karaoke, and then you were talking about it on the show a couple times, and we had DM'd about it, and then we actually went and did it together, which was a riot. It was fun for sure.
So I'm standing there listening. I'm standing there, I'm in my new normal spot toward the back of the bar, just chilling. And Christian comes. So Christian and I are talking. I said, "What song did you pick?" And he goes, "Psycho Killer." And I'm like, "No." I said, "Yeah." I like, "You're nuts." And he goes, "I think I could pull it off." So I'm standing in the back of the bar, and TJ calls up, JT rather. I keep calling him TJ. He's JT. Calls up Christian. Christian goes up, and he just starts nailing it. And I look at Kathy and I just go, "Holy shit." And she
Yeah,
goes,
it's
"Wow, he's actually really good."
oh well, I appreciate it. I mean, I always just go and try to put as much good energy, and if I can get a couple people to smile or laugh, that's all I'm trying to do. I always tell my friends, because some of my friends go with me but don't sing, and I'm always like, karaoke. If it's not bad, it's not good.
Yeah,
So
I understand why people don't want to, because
I do
you don't want
too.
to do something, poorly. Like, you want to be good at it.
Right.
But at the same time, almost nobody's actually good at it. It's just, and everyone respects even the. You saw it while we were there. There was some real
Yeah.
champs, as
And
they say.
I mean, some of the worst ones are some of the best,
Exactly.
if you know what I mean.
They end up being the most memorable no matter what, which is kind of awesome. But
No
that place
question.
that bar is a great place for karaoke. Like, it's a great vibe. In fact, we're going the night before New Year's Eve. We're going back because we're just going to have one last hurrah for the year. So
Nice.
One
Nice.
of Kathy's friends is coming up. We're going to head out over there, and we're going to all just hang out and do karaoke that night. So
That's
gonna,
awesome.
gonna be a hoot. I know. I feel kind of bad. I knew you weren't going to be able to, but I was kind of like, no, I got to ask Christian. And in fact, I didn't even. I just want you to know, for the record, I didn't suggest asking you. As I was told when we were going, a certain DJ Smiles, the love of my life, actually said, "Just see if Christian wants to come."
Oh,
So,
really? That's awesome. Yeah, your whole group was a blast. Really great people and just fun to hang
yeah,
out with.
those are all people. I mean, those are all people that came into my life this year, which is kind of hard to believe because they're kind of like my family already. Like, those are my people, and
Right.
they're new people, but they're my people. And it's like they've always been there.
That's the best kind of people.
Yeah, people who love people are my favorite people.
Definitely. Yeah, people who don't like people aren't really great to be around.
No, almost by default.
Right.
So, what are we doing this show? I like to. So for years and years and years doing this show, usually for many years, it weirdly ended up, the math just worked out where Dave Swiduck was on every year. And we always ended up having a Thanksgiving show around Thanksgiving. It somehow fell that he was on like right before Thanksgiving, either very close to it or the week before it. So we ended up making that the Thanksgiving show. And I really wanted to do that again because a lot of people kind of lose track of what they have to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that people need to do more often. It's not that you need to be reminded about it. It's that when you have a lot of bad stuff going on in your life, you tend to suppress the good stuff, not intentionally, but it overshadows the good stuff all the time.
It's
And being thankful for stuff can really just pivot everything. I have a mirror in my bedroom right by the exit to my bedroom, and it says, "Be anxious for nothing, be grateful for all things," which is, of course, a phrase from the Bible. And I'm not a
hmm,
biblical religious person, but that phrase, I heard it when I was going through my cancer treatment. And, I was constantly just in this, why me, why me, why me? And then I realized, like, at some point, I heard that and it was like, oh, don't worry about this because you be grateful that you're being treated. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And it
yeah.
really did change my whole attitude about what I was going through. And now it's like my motto. Like I have it everywhere that I need to be able to see it. I have it. And I think that that helps a lot. So I wanted to do that for other people. And of course, it's nice to be able to do it with a friend. So,
Definitely, definitely. That's a great thing to live by. My nana always used to say, she passed away last year, but she would say, one of the most important things is when things aren't going well, just take a step back and put them in perspective.
mhm,
And usually, when you kind of look at the whole picture, you can find lots of things on the outside to be grateful for. When you're
sure.
really in close and narrowed in on one thing, it's easy to get bogged down. But she'd say, take a step back and just put things in perspective. And
Yeah,
I
because
always thought that was really moving.
even, I had someone once told me it's like, even if everything is going wrong, well, you woke up today.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, that's like, all right, I understand that's like base level, like, but still, that's an important thing. Like waking up is pretty important for the rest of
it
your day.
it is, and this is the silliest thing. I just started doing this like 2 weeks ago. I heard it on some other podcast. I don't even remember which one, but the guy who was on was saying, I wake up every morning and I say out loud, today is going to be a good day. And he's like,
Mhm.
if you just repeat, and so every morning since then, I've woken up and I just say it out loud. And I mean, it's silly. It doesn't really mean anything, but it does. It starts your day on with one foot forward.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of people who are in the military. When they get out of the military, the first thing they do when they get out of bed is make their bed.
Oh yeah, I do that one too. Yep.
Right, and they don't make their bed because they're neat freaks. They don't make their bed because they have to have a made bed, but they make their bed so, you wake up and you start your day with a win. Boom,
Right.
bed's
Right.
made,
And
done.
then
Like,
at the end of the day, you always have something good to come home to.
mhm. Mhm, I don't have to rearrange everything when I get home. I come home, and luckily, I have someone that takes care of making the bed because that's my least favorite chore in the world, but she does it in the morning too, so either
Even
way,
better.
it's done, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
But, yeah, starting the day off with a win is like a big deal. It's another thing to be thankful for is that you have enough things that you can turn into wins, It's
Yeah.
weird when you figure out what so many people don't have, what you have to be thankful for. Because there are
Oh,
times
for
where,
sure.
especially in the last year, where I felt like, Jesus, I don't have anything. Like, and little by little, things just keep getting taken away and taken away. It's like, yep, we're taking that away from you now. Oh, we're going to take that away from you now, too. And oh, that, yeah, nope, that's got to go. And it's like,
Right.
wow, I have nothing left. And then you look around, you're like, no, I actually got plenty. Like, I'm doing okay. Like, I have a smile on
Yeah.
my face no matter what. And it's just, again, gratitude, it's
It,
perspective.
it's everything. It's really important.
So we have, I'll just tell you how we ended up at the list that we have. So I put out a call last week and I re-put out the call this morning for anyone who could, send in a note about what they're gracious for. Grateful, not gracious, grateful. Well, the gracious works. What people are grateful for. And man, did I get some feedback. And we got a lot of feedback to start, but Kathy decided to. We got a few people, and I said to Kathy, I was like, Christian and I will be okay because if anything, we'll just stretch a little bit. She put out a call to the ladies at No More Games Radio, whose shirt I'm wearing. I should just
Oh, look
point
at
out I'm
that.
promoting the ladies, and of course, my
I should
sleeve
be
says
wearing my
DJ Smiles, which is my particular lady.
even better.
Um, but she put out the call to them. So if you hear any weird names, I'm going to link everybody, or at least attempt to link everybody in the show notes for this episode. Everybody that sent anything in, so you can find these people. A lot of the people from the radio, I actually just put their DJ names on, so you'd be able to find them and find their show. And I'll do the best I can to try to give you an idea of when their show is on, but you can always go to their website. But yeah, the girls at No More Games Radio really kicked it into overdrive and sent us a whole bunch at the last minute. So it's actually really, really cool. So we have a bunch to go through. And Christian, since you are my guest co-host, you can read any one you want except the one my cursor is sitting over. So feel free to pick one and just go for it.
All right, let's start with Edward Macaulay.
Okay. Edward
Um,
McCauley. Yep.
it says, not sure if it's too late to get in on the thankful episode, but like you, I'm thankful for having a family to celebrate Thanksgiving and all the other crazy cool holidays. My daughter has something to look up to, and I have someone who inspires me daily. I hope you and your family have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's awesome. Edward,
That's
same to
great.
you, buddy. He was, yeah, it's it definitely wasn't too late. We were taking him up until about 3 minutes before we started recording, so that's awesome.
No, not too late at all, and we'll get through all of these, but the thing I really like is a lot of these people are just really thankful for, um, people and family and
I
it
noticed that. I noticed that. And see, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. Like a lot of people are thankful for other people. They're not thankful for material things and stuff that, stuff that's like material and things you can buy and things you can get on Black Friday at a discount. These are like solid, substantial things that people are happy about. And this is what I wanted to do. So I'm getting what I want. I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
Well, you were just talking about how you had, a lot of things taken away, and a lot of those things are material things, and those stink to get taken away, but, like, if you have good people, that's, like, the most important thing you can
it's
have.
it's been the one constant that I
Yeah.
have around me is good people.
Well,
And
and I
anyone who because by now everyone who's not a good person is already gone, but the good people seem to be multiplying in some weird way, and they seem to be finding more of them every day. So it's
it's
kind of
awesome.
awesome. Let's see, who do I want to read? Maybe I'll read this Kathy Smiles chick. I mean, I hear
Who's
she's kind
that?
she's kind of important. She is Kathy Smiles is of course Kathy. Everybody knows Kathy at this point.
Right.
Um,
Of
she
course.
is DJ
Sorry.
Smile. She is DJ Smiles on No More Games Radio and does her live call-in request show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on No More Games Radio. See, I do know most of the schedule. Um, and she writes, "This year I'm thankful for so many things, but the number one thing is my fiance. You know him as Mr. Digitally Creative or Handmade by Vincent Ferrari. I know him as the best man on the planet. He's the epitome of love, and I get to call him mine. Christian, you rock too. Thank you for being a friend he can count on."
Oh, thanks, Kathy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, she told me something before we started, and I know she's mentioned that before, but this is interesting since you're my co-host today. But she told me that you were the first episode of my podcast she ever watched.
That's amazing. That's amazing. She
Oh.
she mentioned that to me when we did karaoke, and I was like, "No way." That's,
Crazy
made me,
coincidences.
feel very special.
She's she's pretty special. I'm super lucky, and for those of you that have listened long enough, I mean, if I just go back to where I was last year on this day, for example, it was a very different place from where I am today, and I am so lucky to have her in my life. We'll get to what I'm thankful for, but she's pretty damn amazing, and I love that she rallied the troops to help get some more thankful notes into the Millinote tabs that we have here because it just felt really good to see all these people I know just jumping in and saying stuff, and that's because my girls got my back, and it's a nice feeling when your girls got your back, which is probably why I put a ring on it because I ain't trying to screw that up.
I think that was a good move, Vincent.
I think I did all right. I think I did all
Yeah.
right. I might have
I
done the
think
right thing here. But babe, I don't know if she's gonna listen to this or if she could probably hear me recording because she's just in the room next door working. But I love you, Kathy. So there you
she's
go.
listening
Just
with a glass to the door.
if I open the door, she'll fall in holding a glass like I do on TV. But thanks, babe. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you um, jumping in and getting the troops to give us some messages to read too. That was pretty awesome. So, um, Christian, you're up.
All right, I'm going to read, Ed's Clocks and More.
Sure.
It says, Thanksgiving. As with a lot of people, I'm thankful for family, friends, etc. The big thing I'm thankful and can travel to. I'm sorry. The big thing I'm thankful for is I can travel to see my mother. I'm thankful I still have her to go to see. We lost my dad in 1990 when I was 25. He was 48.
Wow.
Occasionally, I feel a little jealous of my kids because they still have me here to talk to ask advice from. Thankfully, though, I still have my mom, and she loves when we visit. She gets to see the grandkids and the great grandkids. Wow. And I think she likes seeing me as well. Have a great holiday, Vincent.
I think she might like seeing you, Ed. I'm pretty sure. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
definitely.
seeing you is a highlight for her.
Yeah, and to have grandkids and great grandkids, that's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. I know what the holidays were like because I was lucky enough. I didn't have. all of my grandparents for most of my childhood. I was very lucky that way. And I even had my great grandmother until almost until I graduated high school.
Wow.
So I had a lot of my older influences around, and yeah, man, that is something to be thankful for. What you can see, but also what the kids can see, because being able to see their grandmother and their your parents and all that stuff, like it's I love that people are so focused on the people around them. This is making me so freaking happy, and Ed, I'm pretty sure she's occasionally happy to see you, if not every time, every
Oh,
once in a
big
while.
time. He mentioned that his father had died, and sometimes he looks at his kids and he's jealous because they have him to talk to, but they're super thankful for him too. I can
Oh
guarantee
yeah,
you that, Ed.
yeah, and the truth is that even if they don't recognize now, they will one day.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, I hate to sound like the old man in the room, but there's a lot of things I took for granted as far as family and that when I was younger. There was just like, oh, do we have to go to this person's house? When,
Right.
now that most of them are gone, it's like, oh man, like I would love to go to my grandmother's house for Sunday dinner. I would love it. I would
Yeah.
love to go to my grandmother in West Virginia and just, spend a day in the mountains. It's one of those things where it's like, damn, you really don't realize what's there until it's not there. So just be thankful while you have it. And I could
Yeah.
totally appreciate that, Ed. But trust me, your kids, even if you don't hear it from them now, then they know. They'll know. They know now, and if they don't, they will know at some point. They'll figure it out. No one goes their life without figuring it out. It's just a matter of when do they figure it out.
Right.
But that's a good one.
That's a
Thanks,
really
Ed.
good one.
Um, let's see. Who do I want to read? I'm going to read. You know what? I'm going to just keep it sappy. I'm going to read one of the most important people in my life, my good friend, Big Al Schultz from New York Woodworks, who is also best man Al Schultz from New York Woodworks. That there's a reason he's going to be the best man at my wedding. And he says, I'm thankful for the direction mentally that the maker community has encouraged me to move in, caring, respect, teaching, learning, and lifting everyone equally, regardless of skill, equipment, or station in life. And I'm thankful for your friendship, brother. Love you. Dude,
Hmm.
of all the people in my life, I've said it a million times. I've said it on this show. I've said it to you. There's no one in my life I know that I can depend on the way I depend on you. Like, Al is truly, 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 truly the best friend that I've ever had in my life. Like, I've never had, he is the chips are down guy every single time. He has bailed me out. He bailed me out so many times early in our friendship that our friendship started with my hair on fire and him holding a fire extinguisher. I mean, that's pretty much the way our friendship started. He's just an amazing human being, and it's been so much fun getting to work with him so much the last month and a half or so. And I'm kind of sad that this week it's over, because man, it's just been so nice to be a woodworker and doing woodwork stuff and working with another woodworker and talking about projects and stuff. But yeah,
Well,
Al's the best people.
definitely. And that's only over for now. I know you guys will be doing more projects together.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, I'm pretty sure if I did nothing else on this, and I know Al didn't need me to do this, but I feel like I did it and it makes me feel good. I feel like I proved myself as somebody who can produce when I need to. And
Oh,
for once I was able to do something, for him, like,
yeah.
and maintain his standards, and like, oh yeah, no, this isn't going to fly. Like, nope, not happy with this. And or in other words, oh, I just want to breaking news. I just got a message from Kathy as we're talking. I'm thankful for Al too. Just wanted to make sure that got in there. See, I told
Hey,
you she
I'm
could hear
also
me.
thankful for Al while we're at it.
But yeah, it made me feel good. It made me feel good to be able to just prove to myself that I can still do the woodworking thing, because man, it's just been a long time since I've touched wood. No snarky comments. I said it that way on purpose because I wanted to be funny. But yeah, Al, you are one of a kind, my friend, and I can't wait for that first glass as a married man when I get to hear your toast. Yeah, Al, you're giving a toast at the wedding, brother. Did
whether
I
you
not
like
mention
it or not.
that? So, yeah, brother, it's all up to you. Where you want? Who do you want to go to next?
I'm going to go to DJ Woodshed, and I'm
D.
not sure if that's a DJ from Kathy's World or if that's
That is
just
Katie from No More Games Radio. That is DJ
perfect.
Woodshed.
Well, Woodshed is very fitting for the
Right, for the current
which
host.
which is why I wasn't sure. So I picked that one based on the name alone, which I love. So DJ Woodshed says things I'm thankful for this year: having an absolutely amazing chosen family, finding an absolutely amazing person to call my partner and love of my life, having an opportunity to live my life to the fullest and experience new places and things. And also, let's not forget the CHs: chocolate, cheesecake, and cheese. And I totally agree with those. The last ones for sure. If anything, there's to be thankful for. It's all the stuff that you're not supposed to eat on a regular basis, but we don't have to care about that when
No.
come
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
No, Cal, as my grandmother used to say, God rest her soul, calories don't count on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, I'm very fortunate too that I have Canadian relatives when we do Canadian Thanksgiving every year, and that's why I always miss Maker Camp because I always go up to Canada for that. And we do Thanksgiving pretty much for the entire 3-day weekend. I mean, we
Hmm.
just eat and cheese and crackers and turkey and drink good beer all weekend nonstop, and it's yeah, calories don't count in Canada either. So
Well, once you cross the border, they're Canadian calories, which are
yeah,
automatically lower.
they're metric. They
They're
don't
metric
work the same
calories.
way.
That's it. That's the answer. Everybody, that's the answer. They're metric calories. So when you go to Europe or Canada, there you go. They are
Yeah,
metric calories.
it's like centimeters to inches. It's like 2.5 per one or something like that.
I love that. Metric calories is my new favorite thing. Fun fact, actually, DJ Woodshed and her fiance are getting married in January in
Oh,
Gatlinburg.
amazing.
Yeah, so guess who's going to Tennessee for the first time?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I have
Um,
never been to Tennessee.
I've never been either, and it's right in the heart of the Smoky Mountains, so it's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be a
gonna be
nice trip.
beautiful.
I'm really looking forward to it. And then on the way home, which is really cool because I talked to Kathy, I said it would mean a lot to me if on the way home we could swing through West Virginia and I could stop at the cemetery where my grandparents are because I haven't been there since like 2009, 2010. Like it's been a
Mm,
really long time since I've been to the cemetery. And she goes, "Yeah, of course." So on
that's
the way
awesome.
home, I'm gonna finally get to see. Not finally. I mean, I've seen it, but I'm gonna see it for the first time in like 13 years. Just get to pay respects, just as we pass through. It's only like a hour diversion, which is
Oh,
when
it's
you're
so
driving
worth it.
11 hours. Who cares anyway?
No, exactly. Well, that's the fun part about taking road trips is you can stop and see cool stuff like that.
Hmm. Hmm. I was worried. I was worried because of the location. I didn't know because I have no reference for the geography of Tennessee. And I plopped it into because there's a couple of things we want to do while we're there. Like we want to see Pigeon Forge,
Oh,
because
cool.
Pigeon Forge is a really nice town apparently. So we definitely want to go there, and it's pretty close to where we're staying. Gatlinburg itself is a beautiful area.
Mm,
So all that stuff is like right over there. And I was like, well, I don't know where this is. And then I put it in. I wanted to do a diversion through West Virginia on the way home, and I looked at the map and I'm like, wait, that's the interstate right there. And my grandmother used to live somewhere over here. Like this is like not a big deal. Like this is an easy trip to make.
that's awesome.
So I'm very excited about being able to make it. I think it's gonna be great. So
And you'll sing John Denver the whole way there?
take country road, take me home. Did you see the meme going around the other day? He mentions, I forgot what river, but he mentions a river, and the river is not in West Virginia at
Yeah,
all.
it's
It's
I did see that actually. I
I
did
was
see
like
that.
I was like, damn it, you had to ruin that too.
Right.
Like,
Funny story about that song. I was in on the Cape this summer with my brother, and we were at an ice cream shop, and there was a big long line that wrapped around the entire place, and that song came on over the radio, and I turned to my brother. I said, "By the end of this song, I'm going to have the whole place in here singing," and I did.
all right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, everybody wants to sing this song. Nobody just wants to initiate it, and
No,
the
nobody
whole
wants to start John Denver, but everybody will
yep.
enjoy it.
But anyway, I'll let you get to your next.
Oh no, that's believe me, this is the kind of quality content people tune in for. This is the banter part. This is the important part. Um, let's see. Who should I? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do DJ Sparkles, who has a show every weekend on No More Games Radio. And anybody I mentioned from No More Games Radio, by all means, just jump in and check out nomoregamesradio.com. I hear the website designer is super duper hot. It's me, and it's basically you can listen to the shows there. They don't have a schedule there, but you can get to know everybody there. They're all listed. You can follow them on their socials and whatnot. And obviously, you can listen live, send in requests and stuff, and do it that way. So, DJ Sparkles, the queen of No More Games Radio, literally, that's what she's called. She's the one that dubbed me Sir Vincent. So, hey, Sir Vincent, I am thankful for so much, but just to name the top four. One, obviously, I'm thankful for my wonderful husband, beautiful daughter, and hardworking son in law. Two, I can't even start to say how grateful I am for the ladies at No More Games Radio and the many friends, including yourself, I've made because of my involvement with the station. I would agree with that. I've made a lot of friends through the station. Three, life itself, no matter how hard it gets at times, there's always something to be thankful for. Four, finally, and most importantly, I'm thankful for my Heavenly Father and the grace He shows me each and every day. Without Him, I wouldn't be who I am today. I
Mm,
I like that. I like that.
yeah, I
Some
like that
she's
too.
one thing about April, she's very grounded in reality. Um, she does. She's a very. She's one of the most creative people I know, and she does every Friday. She does Fantastic Fridays on the Facebook page for No More Games Radio,
Oh,
and
nice.
she comes up with these crazy games and just keeps them going all day long. And I have it on good authority that she basically doesn't really plan them. She just comes up with them like the night before and then makes all the graphics and then just throughout the course of Friday keeps everybody, she does like Family Feud type games, trivia games and Mad Lib type games. And it's like,
That's awesome.
where are you coming up with this stuff? And every Friday it's something different. So she's a hoot. She is the queen of the station. Everyone calls her that because there's few people that are just that involved. And she's wonderful. She's a good friend too, and I really appreciate her friendship. So thank you very much, April, for writing in. That was sweet, and I appreciate it very, very much. Especially that I got to mention among the other ladies.
Yeah,
The other ladies, the
among the
ladies, I
other
should
ladies, I
say.
was gonna say.
No, I'm not. I'm not telling any secrets today on this station. That's for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna do 292 by Devin,
Devin the engineer.
and he says, "Hey man, in response to the podcast request for things I am thankful for, obviously I'm thankful for the obvious things in life, wife, kids, blah blah blah. This year I realized something different. I'm thankful for the memories I have of my grandfather. My grandpa Pat passed before I was born, and all I have of him are stories other people have told me. My grandpa Paul passed when I was 20. He was a great man and a huge influence on my life. This week, my 6-year-old's first grade class did a Veterans Day ceremony, and when they played Anchors Away for the Navy, all I could think about was Grandpa Paul and how proud he was of being in the Navy and being a veteran. If he was still with us, he would be 101 this year. He
Wow.
wouldn't have missed his grandson's first grade Veterans Day ceremony for anything. I'm just so thankful for the time I had with him and that and that it meant enough to me that 16 years later. Just hearing Anchors Away and thinking about my grandpa made me cry.
Oh,
Man,
Jesus.
that one comes from the heart. As
Wow.
someone who's been extremely inspired by my grandfathers as well, I can really relate with that one. Uh, both
It's
both my grandfathers were woodworkers, and one of them was an engineer, so they both made and did crazy things, and really inspired me to do so much of what I am today. So
I I could totally feel that, man. I totally
yeah,
feel that.
and my
I,
my grandpa on my dad's side, he was an engineer, but he was also a World War II veteran. So um, and he died 5 or 6 years ago and was 93. So on a similar
it's a good
and
life.
yeah, and all he did was keep going, and he was incredible.
Isn't that I love that about that generation. Like it's just like it's like I see it a lot with David Picciuto's grandfather.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like the
Well,
same
what's his
they're all
slogan?
that
Keep
same
moving.
person. Keep
Yeah.
moving.
Yep.
Keep
Well,
moving.
my grandpa, who I was just talking about, he played saxophone, and he played in a swing band every Monday night until he was 90 years old. And it was
Jesus.
just like, it really did. It kept him moving. It kept him going. And there was nothing better in the world. We'd go to Bill's Seafood and see his band Tuxedo Junction, which was all guys in his same age too, and they played, and it was just fantastic.
That's
So
amazing.
inspirational.
That is absolutely amazing. I love that. My grandfather, it's funny you mentioned, the influence that your grandfather was over you because in a lot of ways, and I've said this, I think I've said it on this show, if not, I know I've said it before, maybe not on this show, but my grandfather was a bigger influence on me than my father because my father almost basically said he didn't want to be an influence on me. He never wanted me to touch tools and work with my hands. He wanted me, as he always
Huh.
said, work with the computers. That's what he wanted me to do, work with the computers. You don't work
Right.
with your hands. I work with my hands. You work with the computers.
That's funny.
So I kind of gravitated more towards my grandfather, who is an artist and a draftsman for most of his life. He was a
Wow.
draftsman and a carpenter, and he was a musician. He played, just off the top of my head, I can think of 7 instruments that he played and played well.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's
spoke
incredible.
spoke 3 languages and was the first person in my family to have a computer. So it's like everything that like music and computers and technology and the general nerdery of my life didn't come from my father at all. Like my father was my that wasn't my father's world. That was my grandfather's world.
Right.
And that's where it all came from for me. And I'm very much personality wise, I'm very much like my grandfather. I don't yell. I don't, it's hard to get me, I really have to be angry to yell. I don't yell that much.
Yeah.
There are some people who listening to this right now will probably go, yeah, you do. And yeah, maybe I do once in a while, but generally I have a very low, like kind of low laying personality, and that was my grandfather. He was the
Yeah.
silent killer. Like if he'd be real quiet and he'd get quieter if he was pissed off, and you knew if he was silent, you were in big trouble. Um,
Wow.
Unlike my other grandfather, who was a drill sergeant in the United States Army during World War I and World War II. And I promise you, quiet was not something that my other grandfather would ever use to describe himself.
That's funny. Yeah, I wouldn't describe my other grandfather as quiet either. Except he was a really hard worker, so sometimes we'd have family dinners and he would just fall asleep at the table. So he would be quiet then. He would just fall asleep just with his eyes facing straight down. it was it was really amazing. We always got a kick out of that.
I'm always amazed. I was always amazed at my grandfather's ability to fall asleep no matter what the situation, no matter who was at the house. Like it was
No, it
always a
didn't matter.
miracle.
It didn't matter. And my uncle said there were times he did that when they had guests over the house too, growing
Mhm.
up. Like, he was a farmer and a woodworker and all of the above. So at the end of the day, he was tired.
Yep, right around 6 o'clock, right around 5, 6 o'clock. It was like,
Yeah.
that's it. It's either nap or outright bed, but
Yep.
it's tired time. um, I actually have two here that I just got. Um, I'm gonna kind of put them both together, which it's our show. We can do what we want. But I got from Drew and Christine. Drew is my future brother-in-law, and Christine is Kathy's sister. So I just got one from each of them. So I'm just gonna kind of lump them together, and let's. I'm gonna read these two. So the first one is from Drew, and it says, "Hey, bro, I hope all is well. Kathy said you needed a what you're thankful for message. Here's mine. I'm thankful for my beautiful wife and 2 children. I'm thankful for my mom, brother, my brother-in-law Patrick, my dad, and my stepmom Barb, my sister-in-law Kathy, and soon to be brother-in-law Vin. Aw.
Hmm.
And Debbie and and the rest of my family who are all awesome. And all my amazing friends, my pets as well, Molly and Mason. Thanks for sports and wrestling and video games. he and I bond over um o- he and I bond over sports and particularly professional wrestling. We are both big wrestling fans. So
That's awesome.
it's kind of cool when you meet a kindred spirit that loves the wrestling business.
Oh yeah.
And has been a long time, like since childhood. In fact, that lucky bastard's going to WrestleMania in
Is he?
Philadelphia.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know too much about wrestling, but I know what you mean, like, when you have a niche interest and you meet
mhm.
someone else who's got that same interest
Mhm.
and that you could just go into a hole that nobody else understands or wants to talk about, and you're like, "This is awesome."
Mhm. Well, our Kathy and I, our second date, she came over and we watched Elimination Chamber. We watched
Yeah,
Elimination Chamber on
it
pay-per-view, and it
doesn't
was
get much
like
better than that if
I'm like I actually told her when we went out on our first date, I said, "If you watch wrestling with me, I'll put a ring on it." And she laughed, and it's
and
funny
you
because
did.
I did end up putting a ring on it. And as we record this, it's Monday, November 20th, which means tonight we're gonna be sitting on the couch watching Monday Night Raw together, so,
Oh, that's awesome.
Christine, Kathy's sister, writes, "It's the season of giving thanks, and I'm thankful for my husband, Drew, who makes me smile and laugh on the toughest days, for my daughters, Caitlin and Emma, who remind me it's okay to play, be goofy, and have fun. I'm thankful for my dog, Molly, who literally makes me take the time to smell the roses, the grass, the leaves, look at the squirrels, etc. I'm grateful for all my family and for their love and support, mostly just thankful for being where I am today because it's perfect." And without
Mm,
going through too much of Christine's like life story, it's yeah, she's pretty happy right now and she earned it. She
that's
earned where
great.
she is in her life right now.
That's great.
So, yeah, that's my future. Those are my future in-laws that came to the plate to help us out today. But they're both awesome people, and I love the girls so much. I've been accused of spoiling them because every time we show up at their house, I bring some kind of gift or present for the girls. Even if it's just stickers, I never show up empty-handed for the girls. So
Hey, that's what uncles and relatives and stuff are for, right?
exactly, I could spoil them, and then I leave them there with them. It's not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they're thankful for you.
Exactly. Um, Want to pull one out?
Yeah, I'll do, this one. It says Desiree Woodcrafts.
Dead Rise.
I'm
That's Emmett.
oh, Dead Rise. Good lord, sorry. I'm thankful for I'm thankful for this absolutely awesome community and the friendships I have made, and Vincent.
And
Um,
Vincent. Not just
and I
the community and Vincent.
well, you're a big part of the community.
I try to
Uh,
be.
you
Um,
absolutely are.
but
But no, I relate to that a lot. The community's incredible. I mean, so many we talked about this a lot last time I was on, but a lot of the, um, competition is inward. You know, everyone
mhm,
is really trying to see everybody else do their best, and
yeah.
that's really special because not a lot of other communities are like that, and everybody seems to have open arms and wants to see everybody else do their best and succeed and make cool stuff.
This is a community that is the most perfect example, and I'll give credit to Scylla Smith for this because she talked about it when I had her on from PL Smith, in case you guys are wondering who I'm talking about. When I
Yeah,
had them on Because We Make years ago, she talked about an abundance mindset, and I think this community in particular just functions off an abundance mindset where there's a lot in the world, and by doing what I do and you doing what you do, we're not taking from each other. There's enough for everybody. And this is the one community. And I've seen people come to this community from other communities. She specifically was talking about the art community, which was so insular and like closed off. And, if you painted anything that somebody else painted, you were a thief, even though, that's
right.
kind of the way art works. Everybody your style is a collaboration of everything you've ever seen. As Jimmy said, you're always taking inputs, and one day
Yeah,
your brain will just spit something out that's the end sum of all the inputs you've taken in. And that's not this community. It's just not. Like, the people
right.
that are that way, they don't last. Like, nobody cares about them. If you're a jerk in this community, you'll be a jerk for a little while until people figure it out. But once they figure it out, you're gone. No one
Yeah,
cares.
nobody's interested.
Yeah. And the good
Yeah,
people kind of congregate around each other in various ways. Like, that's one of the things I love about Maker Camp. It's a great reminder. Even this year where I wasn't even there very long. I was only there for a couple of hours, but it was that couple of hours, just that reset in my brain. Like, hey, remember how cool all these people were? Here's your reminder. And
definitely,
it
definitely.
it was it was just awesome to have, because every once in a while you do need that, because the world at large isn't the maker community by any stretch.
Unfortunately not.
And I think it would be a better place if it was, but. Yeah,
I agree.
I'm Emmett, I am totally grateful for your friendship also. I'm also very grateful for that Pokemon pen, which my man knows me real, real well. Showed up at Maker Camp with a Pikachu pen for me.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
That's cool.
it's really cool. I have it in the tray, so maybe while you read the next one, I'll grab it and pull it out so you can see it. It's pretty sick.
Cool.
Um,
I will do. Oh wait, hold on. Somehow I got into the red folder. I
okay,
don't know
yeah, you
what I
can
did
it's
here.
up at the top to
Oh,
back out. There you go.
wait, there we go. All right, I will do MJ, DJ, MJ Rock.
Woohoo!
Hey, dude, what I'm thankful for is my health, my awesome hubby of 25 years, my fur babies, my best friends of almost 35 years, my crew at No More Games Radio, music, and that God gave me common sense.
I was told her I was jealous that God gave her common sense because he just gave me striking good looks.
Hey, common sense is a good thing to have. If
As they
and
say, it's
but
not very common.
yeah, uncommon sense.
No,
But
she's
yeah, I agree. Health and well-being
uh-huh.
and good people. That's all you can ask for.
And when I stayed in Baltimore, we stayed at her house, and it was just like we were
Oh,
welcome.
nice.
It was in the middle of essentially the tornado to end all tornadoes. Um, it was a wild time. Power was out for 12 hours. But it was so much fun just hanging out with her husband, Kevin, and the rest of the ladies from No More Games Radio, which was kind of fun. It was like a sleepover. It was awesome.
That's great. Slumber party.
Yeah. So MJ has a show called Metal Mania, and she does a show with her husband Kevin, who goes by Mr. Metal Mania on the station, and they
Oh,
do
I'm gonna have to tune into that one.
yeah, her shows are very good, and Kevin's musical taste. I've talked to Kevin about music, and it's like like when you nerd out about music, you appreciate other people who nerd out about music, even if you don't nerd out about the same music.
Definitely. Yeah.
He nerds out about music from a metal angle in a way that just blows my mind. Like he is just an encyclopedia of metal.
That's cool.
It's
That's cool.
really awesome. Like I love people that are passionate about a specific genre of music to the point where if I ever needed to know anything about metal, I know who I would ask, and it wouldn't even be a question. Like,
Right. That's
and
cool.
there's a reason he's Mr. Metal Mania.
Is
But
it Mr. and Mrs. Metal Mania?
yeah, so she's her show is called Metal Mania, so he's Mr. Metal Mania.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. I see.
all of us had to be dubbed something if you're the significant other in a relationship on this channel, on this station, you have to have some kind of nickname. That's how I got Sir Vincent. So
Nice.
I
You're
was
not
dubbed.
Mr. DJ Smiles.
You know, yeah, maybe I have to change maybe like Sir Vincent is like my maiden name. Have to change it after the wedding.
That's hilarious.
um, let's see. Let's do cousin Debbie because cousin Debbie obviously is Kathy's cousin Debbie. Who, as I've said a million times, I am eternally grateful for because the only reason I didn't have to sell everything when I lost my shop is because she opened up her basement for me to store everything in. So all the stuff that was in my shop is basically in her basement now,
That's so
waiting
generous.
for it to find a new home, which is super nice. She did not have to do that, and she spent a couple of days down there cleaning up space so that I had enough space to put it all down there, and I am eternally grateful for that because it would be almost impossible to buy all the stuff that I put down there and start over. Like it would take me years. Like I still got rid of a lot of stuff, but
Right.
I kept the core stuff. My drill press, my table saw, my drill press, my table saw, my rigid oscillating sander, and a whole bunch of other hand tools and unique tools that I use. I just wouldn't be able to buy them all again. Like this, it would have
Right.
been a disaster. So I wouldn't have been able to do that without Debbie. But this is what Debbie's thankful for. I am thankful for the family I was given, as well as the friends that are my family I've chosen, the memories that my parents have given me, and family traditions that I still try to follow today. Did someone get the turkey napkins? LOL. Grandma says you have to have turkey napkins. Got you covered, Grandma and Lady. Lady is her mother. Yeah, it's funny at Thanksgiving, especially if you're hosting Thanksgiving when if you live in a family where as we say, the old people, right? Where the old people hosted Thanksgiving, you have two things you can do. You can either follow their traditions or you can start your own. And a lot of people, especially younger people, they do the opposite of what their parents did because they don't want to do the same thing. They wanted to make it their own. But then there's what Debbie, like the turkey napkins, like you have to have turkey napkins. Like, yes, okay, I get that. Like, I totally understand. Those are the kind of quirky traditions that, like, my aunt always had turkey shaped butter on the
Oh,
table at
that's fun.
Thanksgiving, like
That's fun.
two at each end of the table. And it was like there was one year where she couldn't get them, and we were sitting there and it was like it felt weird that they weren't there. There was such a fixture at the ends of the table. And she goes, I don't care what I have to do if I have to make them my own on my own next year, but we will have turkey shaped butter. And the next year we had them. It was only 1 year in all the years we were going to her house that she didn't have the turkey shaped butter because that was
We
an important part of Thanksgiving, even though it was just butter.
we always have to have two cranberry sauces. There's the canned one and the homemade one. And all the guys in my family like the canned one and everybody else likes the homemade one, but my grandfather always used to call the homemade one. He said it's with bugs because it has all the bits of cranberry still in it. So we always say, "Would you want like your cranberry sauce with or without bugs?"
You know what? You want to hear a crazy story? I don't think I've ever told this story on this show. I know I told it to Kathy and Debbie, and they both were just hysterical, laughing at how stupid I am. And yes, I will call myself stupid for this, but you're going to crack up when you hear this story. Since we're talking about cranberry sauce, it has to happen. Um, I was at my aunt's house, and we went to, so there was a period of time where we weren't on great speaking terms with one aunt, so we started going to the other aunt for Thanksgiving. And I was a little kid, and I was always amazed at the cranberry sauce, because it came out of the can and came out in that perfect cylinder.
It does.
And okay, so I'm just gonna preface this story by saying at that point in my life, the only thing I had ever seen was my aunt take the church key can opener, the one that punches a triangle, and just
Yep.
punch a triangle in the can. And then I would see her bring out the cranberry sauce. Okay, so now you have the complete background for the story.
Yep.
Over the years, I never saw anyone open the can. I only saw the triangle punch. So for many years, including into my adulthood, I always wondered how it came through that triangle and then became the can shape again. Are you realizing how ridiculous this
I
sounds
am.
yet?
I
Okay.
am.
So I was, I think I was like 28 years old. Yes. And I'm watching my mom. So so what we would do is, like, my mom and dad, I would go to my ex-wife's family for Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving was like the biggest holiday of the year for them. So I would
Yep.
go there, and then the weekend after, we would have Thanksgiving too at my parents' house. And I went there one year. My father takes the can out, and I see him punch the triangle, and I'm like, okay, now I got to see this. And I'm like, I'm excited. I'm watching, and I see him take the can opener and open the other side of the can.
Right. It's just a vent hole.
And literally. And I'm standing there and I go, oh my God, that's so amazing. And my ex-wife goes, what? I was like, the cranberry sauce. I never knew that's how it worked. She goes, the can? I was like, yeah, I never knew that was how it worked. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I always thought it slipped through the triangle and just kind of reformed itself on the plate. I just thought it was one of those things that we couldn't explain. And she looked at me and she's like, you're kidding, right? I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. She goes, you're 28 years old. You don't know how cranberry sauce works? I'm like, no. So up until I was about 28 years old, which is 2004, for those of you that are keeping track, I thought that can shape reconstituted after all the cranberry sauce slipped through the triangle, because I never saw anyone open the other side of the can.
Well, here I am 27 and I'm going to admit something really silly now. I've never punched the triangle hole in the backside, so I always am that idiot with the cranberry sauce wailing on the back of it trying to get the thing to come out, and it makes a whole vacuum, so that makes perfect sense in the world why you would punch a hole on the other side.
I'm so stupid.
So I appreciate your story.
Wow, we're both right up there, so it's good. At least you didn't wait till your current age to learn how it came out of the can. That's way more embarrassing. Holy crap. Wow,
Oh,
see
that
what
was
you learn
awesome.
see what you learn listening to this show. You learn how to open a can of cranberry. And for those of you that I just wanna know, and you could just be honest. What age did you learn how the can worked? Because I swear to you, I never saw anyone open the can, and that's why I always thought it just came out the triangle. I don't know why I would think people would do that if it only came out the triangle. Like, why would you do that? Why not just open the whole can? I don't know. I thought it was just one of those things that you don't explain, but, yeah, let
That's
me know.
awesome.
Please, somebody out there has gotta be somebody out there, even if you only thought it till you were 7 years old, I can't be the only one that thought this.
I was
So
just gonna say, I hope there's someone like 75 years old listening to this, and they're like, "Oh, that's how it works."
one of my 80-year-old followers is just gonna go, "I was today years old when I found out that you
Yeah.
have to punch the can twice."
Oh
Um,
man.
who's up to
Uh,
read one? Is it you or me? I don't even
I
know.
think it's me.
Okay, so let's
Uh,
do this one then.
this is the last one on the board. It's Julie, DJ Jules, and it says Sunday Sounds.
Yep,
Hey.
that's her show on, that's her show on No More Games Radio.
Oh, okay. I thought that was something she was thankful for.
I'm pretty sure she's thankful for it.
Yeah. It says, "Hey, how are you? I'm one of Kathy's sisters at the station. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for my loved ones, friends, and my sisters at No More Games Radio, and my guy Dave. Have a wonderful week. Best, DJ Jules."
Oh, thanks, Julie. Just for the record, Julie was the first of the No More Games Radio ladies, not counting Kathy, to send in a message for the Thanksgiving show. So I do appreciate that. And yeah, being
Well,
thankful for the people around us is super duper important.
and I like that name Sunday Sounds because you think of like Sunday morning especially as like kind of a nice quiet time, and it's when
Hmm.
you wake up and you have your tea, your coffee, and so I am thankful for Sunday Sounds.
Yeah, Sunday silence doesn't sound as interesting. I don't know if it would make a great radio show.
No, probably not.
Although in current year they would just call it ASMR.
Yeah. There
It's
is
like
a song, I think it's called One Sunday Morning by Wilco, and it's like 15 minutes long. And it's kind of just the same thing that's slow and steady, and it just kind of repeats. And most of the time in the week, you wouldn't want to listen to it, but it's pretty good on Sunday morning.
it's a good Sunday song. It's a good
It
Sunday
is.
sound.
Yep.
Look at that. Calling it right back to the radio. Um, yeah, it's I think it's time. You know what I'm gonna do? Be thankful for the people that support the show financially right now. And when we're done with that, I think you and I will talk about what we're thankful for.
Sounds good.
Because I think it would be cool to make note of these folks and fellows before I start getting into the full blown what the hell I'm thankful for this year. So the people I'm most thankful for in regards to this podcast are the people that support it financially, because literally without you guys, this podcast could not happen. Those people include Best Man Al Schultz from New York Woodworks, Scott Oram from Dad It Yourself DIY, Ed Swanson from Ed's Clocks and More, Nick Birchtold of Birchtold Design Build, Russ Cave, Tori Decker from Tori Did It, Jake Drews of Make with Jake, Meg and Chris from Onyx Designs Woodworks, some guy named Christian Neary from Warrenwerks. I don't know anything
Whoop,
about
whoop.
that dude. Ken Madden from Mad K Studios, David Wood of DW Wood Builds, Dean Duplantis, Jeff Stein, aka A Weird Guy, Kim and Garrett from Kim and Garrett Make It, Rory Langefeld of RLO Woodworks and DIY, Robert J. Keller, Brian Arsenault, the Seven Hills Maker, Dave Bauer of Dave Bauer Art, Donald LeBlanc of Fun with Woodworking, Miguel Angel Villela, Darkest Web Designs, Jeremy Spees, Grant Alexander from the Clamp Podcast, Brad Harrison of Brad's Customs, Billy Polton of Polton Projects, Eric Peterson from Overall Makerworks, and Earl Van Alstein. Wait a minute, Eric sent one in. Where did it go? I'm going to get that while I'm talking, so I might delay a little bit, but
That's okay. Well,
uh,
you just said David from DW Wood Builds, and I want to personally thank him. I've been pretty absent on YouTube and Instagram the past couple months, and he reached out to me at one point and was just like, "Hey, man, I see you haven't been posting anything. Just want to check in and make sure you're doing okay." And I'm
wow.
doing great. And there's a whole bunch of reasons of why I have been a little less active, but it really meant a lot to me. It was like, wow, this, I met him at Workbench Con, and we shared DMs and stuff before, but it was to be noticed and reached out to just to check in and make sure I was doing okay. Like that's kind of what we're talking about when we say the maker community is so
Hmm.
powerful, and that really hit home. And I so
Yes.
DW Wood Builds, David, you're the man. and he's kind of been blowing up. He's been doing a lot of cool stuff on his Instagram.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how many people, I've watched so many people, like just kind of basically blow up in front of me, and it's just the coolest thing in the world. And yeah, David's good people. David is
Yeah,
very good people.
very
I
much.
love that about the maker community. I love that about the little community that we have, especially if you're in like if you consider yourself part of like a local group, like we're kind of like the Northeast people, and all the
Yep.
Northeast people we kind of know each other, right?
Right.
For the most part, we know each other, and it's kind of wild that like if you're absent or you disappear for a while, somebody will check in and go, "Hey, where'd you go? You okay? Everything all right?" So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not a lot of people do that. I feel like outside of this community.
I don't feel like that's really a thing unless
You
you're
know,
really tight with somebody. Like nobody just does a random okayness check, wellness check.
right.
That's what it's called, a wellness check. But I did find Eric from Overall Makerworks. He sent it to me on Discord.
Oh, nice.
And that's why I missed it when I was compiling all the notes. So sorry about that, Eric. But I do have your note. And his note says, I'm trying to think of a concise way to express what I'm thankful for. I have health problems, but I also have a retirement pension, disability payments, a large shop with a variety of tools and materials, a supporting wife so I can take the time I need to focus on my mental health. For me, making is therapy, and I am thankful that I have the ways and means to pursue that. Amen, dude.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, you don't realize how much your shop is a part of your life till you don't have it. And I'm not trying to tell people that to shame them or make them, feel bad for me. I'm just telling you, even if you hate your shop, be happy you have it.
Yeah,
Because
or just a space to work.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a space to work. You're the driving force, but be grateful that you have a place where you can do it. That's
Can I be entirely unprofessional and say I'm so thankful he exists?
Aw,
I love you.
I love you. Aw.
He's the best thing ever. And I'm so, so, so thankful for you.
Aw, I love you too, babe.
Bye. I'm sorry.
I've never been podcast bombed before.
I had to.
Well, I'm thankful you exist too, Vince.
Yeah, I like existing. Existing
Yeah,
is
existing's
existing makes a
good.
lot of things happen. It's very good. As far as things to happen to you. Do you want to go first? What you're
Yeah,
thankful
I would
for?
love to. Sure. I mean, there's so many things, but uh, just even like my personal network and my family and the people I know have been so generous to me. Recently, I've been doing a lot of work with my uncle, who he's an architect and a designer, and he's brought me on to do the last couple projects with him. And so, right around the beginning of the summer, he asked me. There were like three projects he had me put numbers on, and then I bought this house from my brother, which is another incredible thing to be thankful for that I had that opportunity. And so I closed on the house, and in that same week, I think all three of those projects came in.
Oh
So
wow.
suddenly it was like a whole lot of things are going to change. And so I had a ton of work, and we just finished the third project last week. It was a big dining room table. Um, and so part of me having the house to myself is me moving my shop into the garage, which has been a big endeavor. And my uncle has been letting me use his shop in the meantime, which has been amazing. And the garage needed some work. It needed a wall taken down, and there was a foundation wall. It was, a physical concrete barrier was in my way from what I needed to do. And I called this guy that I used to work for a couple years ago, who's also good friends of my uncle, and I asked him some questions about what would be the best way to remove this, and he was like, "Oh, I'll come down on Thursday night," and he showed up last week with a concrete saw and a jackhammer, and in an hour and a half we had this physical concrete barrier out of my way, and it was just such a
Wow.
um, metaphorical and physical barrier that there's just no way I could have removed that without him. And it was like, man, the things that some people will do to help other people, and when there's good people that want to see you succeed, and um, it's just amazing. I mean, I don't really have words for it. So the people in my network, and like I said, I've been real quiet on social media lately. I've been super busy, and that's kind of the biggest reason is I haven't had my shop set up, so I haven't been posting anything. And the people that have really stepped up to the plate, and even my dad and brother helped me remove this wall. They came down a couple weeks ago, and I just can't, like, I'm so lucky to have people in my life that really want to help me, and um, I don't know, it's just amazing. So a lot, it's just I'm just thankful for the people that I have.
I love it. I love it. It's so cool. Your family is so tight knit. I love it. I love it.
They're incredible. I mean, it's funny because I just grew up this way, and a lot of my family's really musical. We all hang out and play music together, and I have friends that see my family and they're like, "Your family does crazy stuff. Like, what do you mean your uncle lived in Australia for a while and your grandparents live on a boat?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's just how I was raised." And we kind of beat to our own drum, but we always do what we can to help other people too, and just to be uh, in this family is amazing.
Of
So I
course.
try to. I would love to push that energy outwards, and um, just be grateful for what I do have.
It's interesting because when I think about, you and how positive you are generally, like you're a very positive person. And,
Thanks. I really try to be.
you always wonder where the positivity comes from. And then I met your mom, and it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
that makes perfect sense now because your
Yep.
mom is like one of the most positive human beings on the planet." It's like,
She
"Oh,
is,
yeah, of course."
and she's an elementary school teacher, and she teaches art, which means she has hundreds of different students. I mean, I can't. Me personally, I can't imagine a more nauseating job or thing to do every day than deal with 5 to 10 year olds nonstop, and
Oh, the
it's
the number
incredible.
of sticky fingers alone has just gotta be overwhelming.
Especially in an art classroom. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
so
I'm
good.
thankful for teachers too. They're that's something I could never do. I really am grateful for that.
Yep, there's a reason they call it a calling because you have to be called to do something that insane.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, that's
Um,
I like how your primary thing that you're thankful for is the
well,
people in your life.
it's it's so important, and a lot of it is the people I'm around have a great attitude. I was just on a long road trip with my brother.
Mhm,
We had to go down to a funeral last weekend, 2 weekends ago. But either way, we were on the drive, and I've been in New York City a couple times recently, and I talked about New York last time, but a lot of people don't like New York. They're like, "Oh, New York City's there's too much," and the thing that I found that with New York, and this is true for so many other things, if you just can lean in and embrace it, you're gonna love it. Like there's so much architecture and culture, and just there's so much cool stuff to see. And if you resist it, New York's gonna swallow you whole.
yeah.
But if you can just lean in and embrace it a little bit, man, there's so much energy. And I feel that's so true for so many aspects of life. Like my brother and I were like, okay, this is a 10-hour drive to North Carolina, but we can lean in and enjoy it. And now I get 10 hours of uninterrupted time with my brother that
Mhm.
I don't get as much anymore because we don't live together. And so, yeah, that's awesome. Like, let's go.
I think that's looking at it instead of like, "Oh, I gotta be in the car for 11 hours," to go, "Oh, you know what? It's 11 hours. Let's make it into something. Let's do a thing," you know? That's why
Yeah.
this trip to Tennessee in January, like, it's not even like, "Okay, cool. Let's do it." Like, I love the idea of driving down there. Like, yeah, because we can
And you're
go
going to
at our
see
own
cool
pace.
stuff on the way.
Yeah.
And when the best part about driving, you see something cool, like, okay, let's just pull over for a minute.
Yeah, let's take 2 seconds and look at it. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Everything will still be there. The Airbnb will still be sitting there waiting for us. It'll be fine.
Right.
That's great, man. Yeah, your family is awesome. Like, I
Thank
love
you.
the
They
engagement pictures of your brother, all that stuff. Like, it's just like seeing your whole family just kinda, like, beaming.
Well,
It's
so my
just
my brother is so funny because he hangs out with everybody, and he was talking to me. He's like, "Man, everybody else got the creative gene, but I feel like I don't." And I'm like, "Have you eaten any of the things you've cooked?" Like he's the kind of guy that'll just pull three things out of the fridge and make like a 5-star meal. And
Mhm.
I think that finally sunk in, and I'm like, you're absolutely creative. It's just in a different avenue.
Absolutely.
And
Everybody I always say this, and I've never been proven wrong, including by people who told me I was wrong, but everybody is creative, you just have to
they
find
are.
your outlet. The outlet
Yep.
is the only thing that's different for everybody, but creativity is universal.
Absolutely. Yeah. No
Especially,
question.
and I hate when people who like, oh, I'm not creative. I just cook. What? Have you met what uncreative people cook? It's disgusting. You don't want to eat
Yeah.
it.
Have
That's
you tasted my cooking? Because you don't want to.
boiled hot dogs. That's what Christian's having for dinner. Boiled
Oh.
hot dogs.
You want rice and beans again? Here we go.
I made enough for the whole week, so I didn't have to make anything every night. Isn't it great? No,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Oh, but yeah, there are endless things I could go on to be thankful for. I mean, even my shop and the fact that I get to do what I do. Like there are times I'll be driving to meet a client or something and it's Tuesday morning and I'm like, I'm actually not at a job right now. Like I'm not at a 9 to 5. I'm driving to go meet with somebody. Like
Mhm.
this is awesome.
I'm doing the thing. There's a moment of the reality of I'm doing the thing that I always wanted to do,
Right. And
you
to be
know?
honest, I'm making a lot less money than my last job, and that is just the least important thing. Like when you're happy, it just doesn't matter.
I think I've learned that a lot in the last year because, this particular year has been financially it's just been incredibly difficult for me, but last year I had plenty of money in the bank. I had no debt. I didn't care about nothing.
Yep.
And I was like, this is never going to get worse. I'm living my best life right now. And then this year happened. It's like, whoa. But you know what?
Right.
I'm probably happier this year than I was last year.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I've listened to your podcast every week, and you've talked endlessly about how you are for your fiance and all
Hmm.
the amazing things that you're doing. And like that's the difference is you're focused on the important things and money will come and go. Who cares? But
Yep.
you know, love and good people. What more can you want?
Love is hard to find. Ask anyone that's been on a dating site. They'll tell you.
I could tell you all about that if you want, but we're supposed to be talking about things we are thankful for here.
Well, I'm thankful for Facebook dating. Does that count? Because that's how I met Kathy. After
Hey,
spending over $1,000 on all the other dating sites, I ended up meeting her on a
wow.
free one, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yep. Well, if that doesn't prove that money won't buy happiness, I don't know what will.
It buys a close approximation, though. I will say that. No, but as I think it was George Carlin that said, "It doesn't buy happiness. It'll buy the best damn imitation of happiness you've ever seen in your life."
Yep.
Let's see. What am I thankful for? Obviously, I'm so thankful for Kathy because I would be a very different person in a very different place without her.
Hmm.
You know, meeting her on the heels of one relationship that I legitimately thought was going to be the next big one in my life that just blew up. Um, and another one who, just it was kind of sad that it didn't work out, but it didn't, and it never could
Right.
have. To meet her on the heels of two bad breakups and to just be like, oh, this is what normal dating is like. This is what not crazy dating is like. Like, this is,
Right.
and so much of my life has changed this year because of her family, who has never for 1 second treated me like anything but family. Like it was like I feel like I've known these people my entire life and I've barely known them a year. It's not even a year. It won't be a year until, well, some of them it won't be a year until May. Um
Wow.
and yet, I get invited to family functions and I'm right there with her family and they all know who I am and they all say hello and everybody's just super cool. I am very grateful to them. I am eternally grateful to my friends who have kept me kept me afloat when I was sinking, which this year has been a lot of sinking. And a lot of people made this much better than it could have been.
Yeah,
um
but you're still treading water, Vince.
yep, sure am.
You're you're s-
Um Big Al Schultz obviously
mm,
wouldn't be where I am without him. Just goes with it. Kind of goes without saying that if I'm talking about someone who's been important to me this in my life, particularly in the last couple of years, obviously Al is at the top of the list, which is of course why he's my best man. I couldn't even, like, it was the easiest thing in the world. Is like I even said to Kathy, I was like, you got your whole bridal party figured out. Like I could tell you who your bridal party is, and I don't even have to think about it. I was like, I don't really have my bridal party. I mean, maybe my best man, and I was like, she goes, "Well, it's Al, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, obviously it's Al, but I mean, like, it's like, is there anybody else? Like, I don't even know. Like, it's
Right.
like Al, and then a couple other people. Like, I'll find somebody will step up for me. I know they will. I mean, if I ask, no one's going to go, no, I'm not going to do that. But it's just that's how close he and I are, and I
That's
absolutely love it.
that's
Um,
amazing.
I'm thankful for everyone that's supported this show, because again, this show doesn't operate for free, and thanks to you guys, it doesn't cost me anything to do this show, so I do appreciate that. I also appreciate not just the guests, because I've had some great guests, some people who I've just said, "Hey, you want to record next Monday?" Or I'll say something like, "You're recording with me next Monday, right?" And they've said, "Sure, no problem." Um, that was really just Claire. I haven't really done that to a whole lot of other people, but it's nice to have friends that I can just go, "Hey, you want to record? You doing anything?" That's great. Also, the people like the big guys who always say nice things and promote the show, like people like Jimmy. Jimmy has been
Yeah.
a great friend to me and to the show. And I tell everyone who'll ask, Jimmy's been a better friend to me than he has any need to be. I can give him nothing.
Right.
Legitimately, I have nothing to give that man. It is the most perfect example of just a good guy being a good guy. Jimmy doing nice things for me and being nice to me and being kind to me is the most perfect, pure example of someone being nice when there's nothing to be gained from it.
Right. And he really is. I mean, and I almost feel guilty because he shouted me out on making it at the beginning of the year when I
Hmm.
first started doing my card challenge, and I've been really lacking on that lately. And I'm like, man, I feel like I'm almost letting him down, because he's
If you told him why you weren't doing it, he'd be so proud of you.
yeah,
And
you're
and
right. You're
and
right.
honestly, dude, I mean, if you think about it, another thing that Jimmy's done for me, if it wasn't for Jimmy, I wouldn't have met you. Like,
That's
I
true.
met you
That's
through
true. Yeah,
Jimmy.
that's 100% true.
It's kind of crazy, but I met you through Jimmy. I met Jeremy Foster. I met, oh my God, I mean, I can run down Art Clement. I met
Yep.
through, I mean, I can run down that
And
list.
Rob
And I
Rojas too. I mean,
Rob
Ro-
Rojas. Well, Rob Rojas I met before Jimmy, in fairness. But yeah, Rob Rojas is another one. I know I'm going to forget people, and I'm very, very, very sorry. I don't mean to forget people, but there's just so many people I've met through Jimmy. It's like, wow, I can't believe it. I've met this person, and this is someone who I watch, or someone I know, or even just someone who's super freaking cool. You go to Jimmy Speedway knowing nobody, you come home with 10 new friends.
oh yeah. I mean, it was so funny. My mom went with me last year because she's been listening to making it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going up this weekend. You want to come with me?" And she's like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." She's like, "Are you sure you want to bring your mom?" I was like, "The fact that you want to come is amazing. You bet I want you to come."
When they hear what you do, you're going to fit right in. It'll be great.
Oh, The Alchemist. That's another one.
Yeah, Alchemist 1964. Yes,
Yep.
yes, yep.
Such
Another
a
one.
nice guy.
They're
So
all
supportive and
Everybody is
yeah.
just it's just such a great community. I'm obviously I'm thankful for the community at large. I'm thankful for the smaller Northeast group of people, because we all do kind of know each other. We all hang out at Maker Camp, and we go to Jimmy Speedway. And this year, not going to Jimmy Speedway was just I was just devastated that I couldn't make it to Jimmy
Mm.
Speedway this year, because I looked forward to that so much. But I
It'll come around
also
again.
was that
I said it'll come around again.
Uh-huh, and I ain't missing it next year. I don't care what I gotta do. I will
No,
be
me
there
either.
next year. But this year was a good cause. It was the first family event with my new in-laws. I couldn't very well not make that.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that would look really bad. But yeah, it's been a very hard year for me, but it's also been a year of just regrouping and rallying around what I still have and what I still have to be thankful for. And I think that's one of the things that is getting me through what hasn't been easy. I'm thankful that every once in a while work will turn up. I'm thankful for the consulting that I've been doing, and that's paying off. I'm not making $1 million doing it, but there's opportunities that I've been presented through the consulting, either consulting on brand building or consulting on IT related stuff or any of that stuff. Like, designing stuff for people, any of the stuff that I've done, it's like, oh my God, like I'm kind of finding it wherever it is to be found. Like maybe this is what you were supposed to be doing. You're supposed
Yeah,
to be
that's
doing the
awesome.
things you love and getting paid for them. So
Right.
you know what, if that's what it is, hey, okay. Then that's what it is. That's what I have in the world right now. And if something better comes along, I'll find it. But until then, I'll survive. Somehow I'll survive.
Right. You will. Absolutely.
And I'm grateful for everything that's happened, good or bad, these past couple of years, because I feel like, yeah, I may be a little bit down, but I'm not out. And it made me realize that I can get through a lot more than just a few life hurdles. So
Right. And those times, the hard times are the ones that make you the strongest, and that's when you
mhm.
learn the most.
Hard
So,
times make stronger men.
right.
So, and it's I just keep thinking that, like, yep, you're going to come out of this stronger, just like you came out of cancer stronger, just like you came out of your divorce stronger. You're going to come out of this stronger.
Yep.
It's you have to have your moments, and I'm thankful that I've had those moments, and I still have people in my corner that are taking good care of me. However they're able to. I appreciate it. I
Well,
will
that's what
always appreciate
karaoke's
the
good
people that
for.
take care of me. Was that
I said that's what karaoke's good for.
exactly?
You just let it all out.
Just let it out. Just belt it out. Belt out some Mellencamp, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I just want to, and I'm not putting you on the spot here, but I want people to hear this from someone else's mouth, who I'm not engaged to. Um, would you say I'm decent at karaoke?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want people
Totally.
to hear that, because I don't want people, because I've said I've gotten better at it since I started doing it, and I just wanted them to someone else to say it, because I don't want, like, oh yeah, of course you
No,
think you're good at
no,
it, but
not only decent, I would say you're good at it, and you have a you're like you seem very comfortable up there.
I,
Whether you felt
oddly
that way
enough.
whether you felt that way or not,
Mhm.
you got up there and were just laid back and just sang your songs, and it was awesome.
I was so nervous the first time I went up,
Oh, me too, the first time I ever did it.
and halfway through, I lost all the nerves. They were gone. Like, it was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
no, this is easy. I could do this."
right.
Because it's scary. It's scary. Like, am I gonna screw
It
it up? Yeah, probably. You're
it
probably gonna
is.
screw it up. You're probably gonna screw it up. You're probably gonna forget the lyrics. You're probably gonna lose your place on the screen. You're probably not gonna be able to hear the music, because it is hard to hear. People don't understand it that have not done it. It is hard to hear the music when you're up there. It is
Yep,
really hard to hear the music when you're up there.
and
Um
it's a lot harder to sing the songs when it's not sing along.
exactly. Or when
That
there's
one's
only harmonies, and
yeah,
you're not used to, like, usually you're singing along, but if you forget, the song goes on. If you forget, there's silence.
there is. But it's
But
it's a blast. I mean, nobody's going I mean, I sure hope not, but nobody's going to a karaoke bar to listen to great music.
yeah, it's even the best there. There's only a couple. Like,
Yeah,
you had the privilege of meeting all the really banger talents in that bar.
yep,
And you got to see them all perform. And even with those people and how good they are, everybody still has a great time. Like, it's like,
for
oh,
sure.
I don't want to follow them, but I can.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's something else I guess I'm really thankful for is my friends that,
hmm
we go out and do karaoke sometimes, but I have other friends that don't too, and, when I first closed on the house and it was mine, my friend and his wife came over, and they got me, a whole cookware set and just all and they cooked me a meal, and I just I was like, I don't even know what to say to you guys. Like
hmm
they got me all kinds of good stuff and housewarming gifts, and it was totally unexpected. I never would have asked for something like that, but man, it just filled my heart. Like the house was a disaster because, my brother was moving out, and you know how it is when you move out of a house. There's boxes everywhere, and but there we were, just sitting at the table, and having a wonderful meal that my friends Eddie and Teresa cooked for me, and I just like again, just good people are so 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 important.
I think that's probably, if anything, that's the message. That's the message that people should take away from this episode. Even if you've basically lost everything, there's
Yep,
someone that you can be thankful for.
there
So
is.
the people matter. People are important. I love when everybody, all these, like, tough guys, they were like, I'm a loner. I do that.
Yeah,
No
good for
one's a
you.
loner. You're you may have less. interaction with other people than typical, but nobody's a loner. We don't go through this planet on our own. We just don't.
No,
And
no,
the
and
more
I,
you
I
surround yourself with good people, the more likely that trip around this planet's going to be better.
well, and you're gonna, yeah, it is gonna be better, and I can look around and I'm like, yeah, I built this business and I work for myself, but when I take a step back, I mean, yes, I opened the company to that, but I would not even be remotely where I am if not for the people around to support me.
Hmm.
Family, friends that helped me set up the LLC, and my uncle who talked to me about running a woodworking business, and then all the people in the maker community that I've learned from, and people who are like Maurice that physically comes and helps me cut down concrete walls, and like the. There, I did not do this on my own. Yeah, it's just me. I am technically the only one running the show, but it's not a one-man show.
No, no,
And
it never is. We don't.
no,
You get where you can work as hard as you want, but you always need somebody else. And
yeah.
yeah, and I'm also obviously, and just not to be sappy or anything, but I'm thankful for your friendship because
Me
you
too.
are,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Kathy said, you're a super dependable friend. You're, as I like to say, you're one of the good guys.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate that. You too, man.
I
Like
never would have met you not through Jimmy, which is kind of awesome. That of all the people to meet through, we met through The Godfather, which is kind of great.
it is.
Um,
It's
it's like, wow, I met people through Jimmy freaking DeResta, who most people have never even met. So that's pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, and your episode last week really resonated with me, and you sent a call out. You're like, anyone who wants to record. And I was like, I'm gonna hit him up right now.
yeah,
And I was like, I don't know if you have anybody else already, but if you don't, I would love to talk to you. Like I could talk about what I'm grateful for all day. And to be able to even say that, I mean, how fortunate am
isn't that
I
great?
to
Right?
just want to keep talking about the things I'm. So yeah, and I'm thankful for this podcast. Like I listen to it every week, and it's a part of my week. It's all the podcasts I listen to, but this one especially. I get introduced to people I probably don't know 75% of your guests,
Which is
and
what I strive for that. Honestly,
yeah,
I that it kind of makes it difficult, but I think it's worth it because I'd rather have people. I want to expose people to new people. You know,
and I'm always take something good away.
good, good.
And
That's what I'm shooting for.
well,
That's
and
what
I
I'm
didn't
shooting
know who
for.
Bobby Duke was, which you in the intro you were like, anybody who doesn't know this has been living under a rock, and I immediately DM'd you. I was like, I think I've been living under a rock because I don't know who this person is, and that episode was awesome.
Yeah,
That was one of my favorites.
he's that was one of those episodes. That was one of those episodes that was just like, I can't believe this happened because when I met him at Maker Camp 2 years ago, it was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then we just kind of didn't sync up on it. And then I just kind of threw it out there. I was like, hey, we never got to do this, but I was wondering if you were still interested, if we could maybe work out some time. And he was like, sure.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh my God, this is really going to
really?
happen. I'm going to talk to Bobby freaking Duke. And there were a lot of people who heard that episode. In fact, one of the reasons I got to know Dave from Toy Polloi is because Corey from Make Shape Create heard me talking to Bobby Duke, heard him mention Toy Polloi, told Dave from Toy Polloi, and
Wow, wow,
Dave checked in and started following me, and I almost dropped dead on the spot. And
that's amazing.
I was like, hey, you want to be on the podcast too? And he's like, of course I'll be on. I'm like, oh
It's
my
crazy how that works.
God. So, but again, these are people that, they're people that not everyone in our community knows. And I think I'd almost rather, and I've
No,
gotten to this point in this podcast where I'd almost rather not do an episode than do one with someone that everyone already knows really well. Unless you're a personal friend of mine, in which case I will have you on 1,400 times and people can live with it. But it's like,
but
that's
that's
kind of the thing though. That's what I want. I want
and
new
that's the
people.
amazing part about this. Like, I mean, I don't have a big platform. Nobody knows who I am. But now this is the second time you've had me on, and like that to give lower guys like myself a voice. That's not a lot of other podcasts are doing that, and
No.
that's alone is something to be thankful for.
Well, yeah, I don't think you're in any way less important than any of the other people that are out there. I think you're a great friend to me. You've always been a great friend to me, and you've been a great supporter of the podcast, and I really appreciate that. And I can't thank you enough for all you've done for this show. I mean, this
Thanks,
show,
man.
you were a supporter from day one. Like you were one of the first. You were right in there, and I really appreciate that.
Well, I was really excited when it came back. I was really emotional when it went away. I remember where I was listening to that episode, and
That was
I
hard.
was like, yeah,
That was hard.
and I
It
was
had
like,
to
I
happen
understand
though.
your reasons. Yeah, no, and it did, and but then it
I
came back, and man, that was
this is
the first episode especially, with Jimmy, and then he talked about me of all people, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Talk about getting emotional. Like
Yeah.
that was the last thing I ever expected.
Getting a mention from Jimmy in our space just never gets old. Like it's still like I was telling Jimmy the other day. I was not the other day, but the last time because they were right after they made was it last? I know Al would know this. I think it was last December. Al and I went over to Jimmy's shop, the one across the street from the racetrack, to drop something off with
Yeah, his
Rob.
three-face shop, as he
Why am I
calls it.
saying Peter? Um, with Rob Rojas, we had to drop something off for him, and then Rob goes, "Why don't we go over and say hi to Jimmy?" I was like, "Okay, cool." So we went over, and I got to see the inside of the barn, and we got to hang out at the barn. And while we were there, Jimmy came in, and it was like just old friends just hanging out for. We were there for like 2 hours. It was amazing, and
That's awesome.
I said we were talking about something or other, and I said. And he said something, and I looked at him. I said, "You do know when you follow people, it's a moment for them, right?" And
Oh
he
yeah,
laughed. I was like, "No, you don't understand. I bet you if you ask anyone you've ever followed on Instagram, they have a screenshot
they
of the
have the
day you
screenshot.
followed them of that notification sitting on their phone."
They
And
do.
Al pulled out his phone. He goes, "He's right." He had the
Yep,
screenshot of it
I've
sitting
got it
there.
too.
Of course,
I've got
everyone's
it too.
got it.
Well, and
Everyone.
that's the thing about him too. I mean, I went up to Jimmy's sometime over the summer. Rob was selling a bunch of stuff as he always is,
Mhm.
and I wanted to buy this big gear from him for a table base. And then he was like, "Yeah, come up Sunday." And he's like, "If you want to get here early, you can go to the flea market with us." And I was like, "I'll be there." So I got up and I got to Jimmy's house, and Jimmy was like just waking up, and we all get in his truck and we go to the flea market together. And I'm like, "Is this real? I'm going to the flea market with Jimmy DeRest right now." And we're walking around, and he buys this big frying pan, and there was a vise on the ground. The guy wanted like $80 for it, and I was like, "That's more than I want to spend." But Jimmy goes up to the guy running the flea market and goes, "Hey, if I buy this frying pan full price, will you sell this vise to my son for $50?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Okay, just kidding. That's not my son. I just wanted to say that so you'd sell it to him." And and so I bought the vise, and he got me. I was almost half off just because Jimmy went up and said that. It was like,
Because he's Jimmy.
yeah, and he called me my son. He called me his son, which was awesome.
Oh, I mean, hey, there's worse
It's
things
like,
in the world to be than Jimmy
uh,
DeRusta's son.
so I don't know. That was awesome.
It does feel there are moments, there've been many moments on this podcast where I was like, "Am I living like a real life right now?" Where it's like,
Yeah,
and I'm that's another thing I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this. I'm grateful for the fact, and maybe this is a little bit of pat on my own back, but I'm going to do it because I never do it.
do
But
it.
I'm grateful that I'm good enough at this where I can have someone on and have a real conversation with them and just chat with them and not have to have a page full of notes and predetermined questions and just talk to
Yeah.
somebody and carry a conversation that somebody might find interesting, even if they don't know the guest or the guest is outside their space. I am thankful that I have that ability because I know that ability isn't common. And it makes me very, very happy to be able to just do that.
No, but that's because you're a professional and you've toned it, and then it's amazing. And similarly, I mean, in woodworking, I told you I grew up with my uncle and grandfather had a shop, and they did high end custom furniture, high end custom kitchens, and they closed the shop when I was like 10 because my grandparents retired. But I grew up, and it was like someday I want to work here, someday I want to work here, and now my uncle is hiring me to do projects for him, and I've gotten exposed to some really high end clients. And we delivered this table last week that we spent, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks building this one table, maybe. And it's just like, I'm actually doing it now. Like, I always grew up thinking, like, I want to work for WHQ Woodworks. And then here I am, like, I'm working for myself, but I'm also like, I'm getting hired by him to do that. And yeah, it's my uncle, but it's like he's my North Star. So
Hmm.
it's, it's incredible to be in the profession you want to be in and feel like you're actually good enough to do it. In the same way you're talking about, like, you're good enough to run these shows, and that's why people are willing to come on here and talk to you, and
Yeah.
uh, that's awesome. Like, that's a good place to be.
It's a very good place to be, and I always said that, maybe my thing is never gonna be being a big YouTube star like the rest of the community. Maybe this is my place in the community, do the podcast, introduce people to artists, creatives, interesting people, content creators, all that, and I'm like, "Yep, well, if that's my spot, I think I can handle it. I think I
And I
can live
gotta
with that."
gotta be honest with you, I'm a lot more interested in podcasts than YouTube lately.
Yeah, I totally feel that. I'm watching stuff on YouTube that's just like I feel like I'm burnt out on everything. So
I kind of do too.
I have a lot more outside of our community stuff in my feed than I used to. We'll just put it that way.
Yep,
A lot more.
likewise. And but I still am listening to a lot.
I pay attention to everything everyone is doing, no matter
Yep,
what. If you're making something interesting, I'm already aware of it. So at
yeah.
least there's still that when Instagram wants to show me my people anyway, and not just show me ads for threads.
Oh man,
Ah,
oh
where'd that
man.
go, huh? Remember when
Yeah,
threads was going to be the next big thing? That didn't quite pan out, did it?
yeah. That was a nice week.
Yeah, it was a nice week. It was a good week for it was a good week for Zuck, but not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Christian, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on and having you on for the annual Thanksgiving episode. So I do
This
appreciate that
oh man, I'm
tremendously.
so thankful to have been on for this, and this is the second time you've had me on your show, so I can't tell you how much that means to me. And um, yeah, thanks, Vincent, for just being a good dude and being a solid friend, and
Oh, you
for
too, man. I
for bringing me
appreciate it.
down to Queens to sing my heart out.
Yep, and obviously that ain't the last time you're going to come down. So
Hell no.
have to get you down there again.
Yes,
It's not like we don't go
absolutely.
there.
I will be there.
But where can people find you on the interwebs? I know you said things are a little slow now, but
They're a little slow, but
you're
I
still
I
there.
the good news is I did just shoot a YouTube video. The table we built had these crazy spirally legs, so I built a cool jig to make those legs, and I haven't edited it yet, but I shot the whole video.
Awesome.
So I'm on YouTube. That's at just Warren Works, and Works is WERKS. And then I'm also on Instagram. It's Warren_works. So that's probably where I'm most active. And like I said, I've been quiet lately, but once my shop gets set up, I'll have a lot more to say. I didn't really want to be just one of those DIY channels that was a bunch of videos of setting up my shop. I
Oh, thank
would
God.
rather stick to just the projects.
Thank God.
Um,
Because
whether
then I'd have to tune you out and feel guilty about it. So
exactly, there's enough of that going on already. So
there's a lot of that going around.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, I'm sure guys, if you're not already following Christian, get your butts over there and follow him. What are you doing? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a pretty big overlap between, the people that listen to this show and the people that follow you already. But if not, people should go over to Christian's Instagram, his YouTube, follow him, support him, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you have to do to make people famous on the YouTubes and the Instagrams and all that stuff because of all the people I know, that are doing it that deserve it, Christian is definitely toward the top, if not at the top of that
oh
list. I don't want
thanks,
to
man.
insult anyone, so I'll just say you're toward the top. This way I don't
Oh,
forget
hey, I'll
anybody.
take it. That's a big compliment. And
um,
and and to everybody that does follow me and watches my stuff, a big thank you to you as well, because that really means a lot to me.
yep.
Uh,
You can't do what you do if you don't have anybody watching. It's like doing it in the forest and nobody around. Nobody hears you.
yep,
um,
exactly.
that's going to do it for this week. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. As you're hearing this, Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with family, friends, and everyone that matters. If your family is miserable and horrible and you don't want to celebrate it with your family, believe me, that's perfectly fine too. You're allowed to bail on your family and go celebrate it with people you'd rather celebrate it with. You're not obligated to throw yourself in a fire just to make sure everybody else stays warm. So just remember that because Thanksgiving can be hard. I know not every family is nice and warm and fuzzy and huggy huggy. I know.
Be
But
with people who make you thankful.
exactly, take care of yourself and be thankful for the people you can have in your life because those are the most important people, the ones that you're going to celebrate. Whoever you choose to celebrate with, those are going to be the most important people in your life, and those are the people you should always keep close. Um, Remember to just be grateful for everything you have every day that you have it because you never know when you ain't going to have it no more. Um, Things happen quick in this world, but you know what else happens
Mm.
quick? Next week. and that's when I'll be back. I don't know who the guest might be. It's probably going to be one of the many folks who offered to be my co-host for today. Because I did tell them that everyone who offered to be a co-host was going to get an invitation to be on the show in the coming weeks. So probably going to have the show scheduled out till the end of December, when I'll take a couple of weeks off like I always do every year, and then come back strong like bull. Until then, have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you next time.